Stugotz here for Upside.com. I've been talking a lot about Upside.com, telling you it will save your company big on business travel and that you'll get a big gift card every trip you buy. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, in less than 2 minutes, they gave me a few awesome choices on United and American for flights to Chicago that work for me and a bunch of big-name hotels. The first option got me a $200 gift card and saved the company nearly $400. Then they showed me options for a flight an hour earlier or a stay at the same kind of hotel down the block. I'd get even more in gift cards, and the trip cost the company even less. Taking a business trip? You'd be crazy not to use Upside. Upside's the real deal. Got me a gift card for $200. Trust me, go to Upside.com today. Plus, when you use promo code Dan, you are guaranteed to get at least a $100 Amazon gift card your first trip. That's code Dan to get a $100 gift card free. Save big on travel and get a big gift card every trip. See what your next trip is worth today. Upside.com. That's Upside.com. Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details.
America, it's time for some straight talk. You love your phone. Look at you. You hardly put it down. But you don't love that expensive wireless plan, do you? So what if I told you can keep that phone, network, and number 2 for a lot less? Well, this is me telling you. It's time to switch to Straight Talk, guys. Bring your own phone and get unlimited plans starting at just $45 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks. Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
Could be a rough one, boys. Boys are shot. Lacrosse tournament over the weekend. I told Mike Ryan before the show I didn't watch sports all weekend. Not a single thing. From Friday night until last night's hockey game, not a thing. And I was going to really lean on Israel Gutierrez today, who's our guest co-host, but moments after I told Mike Ryan I didn't watch any sports this weekend, Israel Gutierrez strolls into the studio in a onesie. Mm-hmm. That's right, I said a onesie. And he admitted to me that he did not watch any sports this weekend either.
Yo, listen. I feel like I have done. I mean, you can hear it in my voice.
Yeah.
I've done an excellent job of preparing to fill in on the show. Like, I have. It's possible I have. Nobody has sort of duplicated or replicated a Stugotz type of weekend like I did because my dumb behind decided without looking ahead in scheduling that, yeah, I'll fill in for Dan. I'll do HQ and I'll do Around the Horn the day after my little baby sister's wedding.
Oof. Oof.
And I'm in terrible shape.
A lot of drinking?
I mean, there was a lot of drinking. I don't really know where it all went. I guess I just sweat it all out because it was a heck of a lot more dancing.
Right.
And it was a disaster. Like, I was drinking and dancing and drinking and dancing, and then there was an after party that wasn't really an after party because my little sister projectile vomited in the wedding planner's car. But
what?
Yeah.
Your little sister,
the bride.
Mm-hmm. She vomited in the wedding planner's car?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, she was taking her back to a hotel, the W Hotel down in Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
And they almost made it. And when they pulled up to the valet, she just, and it was lights out.
Right in the car.
In the car.
Couldn't even open the door. Couldn't just do it on the curb. Couldn't do anything.
It was the wedding planners because she's like a friend of ours. Pretty sure it was her last wedding for a long time.
Right.
Because she's, adjusting her business a little bit.
Yes.
And, yeah, that's a send-off.
So no after party, obviously, because...
No after party. Some late-night eating, but no after party.
What time did Israel Gutierrez get home last night? Or this morning, I should say.
It wasn't too late. I probably got a decent 3.5 hours of sleep.
Okay. It's going to be a good one. Going to be a good one. Two people who haven't watched sports. No. Mike Ryan's in Bristol, Connecticut. Mm-mm. He is producing the show from up there. I would like anyone who strolls by wherever Mike Ryan is. I don't care who it is. Doug Kazarian. I don't care who it is.
Is that the first name that comes up? I don't care who it is. It could be Doug Kazarian.
I want Mike to grab him and put it on the show for a couple of minutes. Huh. Israel, you a good dancer? Like, hold on. Fact, Chris, do you imagine Israel Gutierrez to be a good dancer? Because I said last week, the key to being a good dancer is a lot of drinks and then not giving a bleep. Because you just got to go out there, and if you're a bad dancer, the way to make yourself kind of viewed as a decent to good dancer is just to not care. Just go out there and let it fly. And for me, at this stage of my life, it's all about embarrassing my kids in front of their friends. But do you think Israel Gutierrez is a good dancer?
I don't see him as a great dancer.
You don't?
I'm not sure what's happening. I don't know. I don't see it.
I am with you. Guillermo, do you think Israel Gutierrez is a good dancer?
I'm surprised. I thought that everyone would say yes automatically, but there's something about Izzy which is strange because he was just in here like in a like laser onesie.
Yeah.
But like I feel like part of like the dancing thing,
yes.
Part of the whole dancing thing is like you want to be noticed, and I don't get that from Israel, even though he wears like laser onesies.
Right. And he has the Fruity Pebbles onesie as well that he has brought in for me to wear today. I'm not certain I'm going to wear it. We'll see how the show goes.
I feel like it's an experience.
You know what? I think he could be a good dancer, but I don't think he needs to be a good dancer, if that makes sense.
I like that answer. I really like that answer. I don't think I'm a good dancer, but I think I'm plenty willing to give it a go.
Okay.
I think I'm not going to try anything ridiculous. I'm going to stay in my lanes.
Right.
But I think my lane's a little wider than Chris is giving me credit for.
So you're not a dangerous dancer. You will do the basics. Well, you do like when everyone's dancing along to a certain dance, like they're doing the electric slide.
I hate
together.
that.
You do? You hate that? I love that.
Like, I don't know the steps, and I don't.
That's not real dancing.
It's not.
It's not?
It's following. It's like
people
numbers.
People that can't dance love those dances.
Put it on the poll at Batard Show. Is that real dancing? I love that. I love that. I love when
because they tell you exactly what to do, and then you can't really mess it up.
Well, yeah, but I try to mess it up anyway, purposely. That's why I love it. I purposely try to mess it up.
Well, that's different. That I could appreciate.
Israel, I am telling you, I have arrived at a stage in my life at 44 years of age where all I'm trying to do is embarrass my kids. So usually when I'm dancing, it's at a bar or bat mitzvah.
Uh-huh.
It's at a function that my kids are also at, and I am out there just to try to embarrass
You
them.
take your kids to the bar. Oh, no, you said bar or bat mitzvah.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Bar, bat mitzvah. Bar is for boys. Bat is
No,
for
I get
girls.
that. I get that. I just heard bar, and then I heard bat mitzvah because I know you've, had a bat mitzvah.
Well, I have given. Should I be admitting this on air? I have my kids are 13 now. I have allowed them to, at times, sip a gin and tonic. They're curious. Roy, they're curious. And so I'd rather them experiment their curiosities with me as opposed to just.
I think what you're trying to do is just show them how terrible it tastes so they never drink it again.
Right, but then they take a sip and then I slam it down. And then I do a shot of tequila, and I haven't done shots with them yet. It's too early.
Also, when you say a time or two, like the experimenting and them realizing how bad it tastes should have stopped after the first one. Like at this point, you're just drinking with your kids.
Well, my daughter Rachel hated it. My daughter Emma loved it.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
I mean, loved it. Is that a problem? Put it on the poll. And am I a bad parent? Is it a problem?
I think that's the problem.
All right, am I a bad parent for allowing my kids at 13 years of age to try alcohol? Yes or no?
I'm not sure if this helps your case, but Greg Cody used to let me take a sip of beer from time to time when I was young.
Yeah, I think.
How young?
Probably around that age.
Yeah, same. My dad did the same. Sip of beer, sip of wine. But here's the thing. I didn't like it. At that age, I didn't like it. I now have a daughter who likes it. Bad. Really bad. Roy, you're looking at me in a way you've never looked at me before.
You know what? I can actually understand that with wine, but gin and tonic?
I was hammered, man.
Oh, okay. That explains everything, man. You were drunk while you were doing it.
Israel, am I wrong here? Like, they just took a sip. Like, I had a gin and tonic. We were at a bar. Where were we? We were at a bat mitzvah.
Okay.
And my daughter asked for a sip of my gin and tonic, to which I said, all right, just one sip. One sip for each of you. Rachel took a sip. She made that, bitter beer face and spit it out. Mm-hmm. Emma chugged the entire thing.
Yeah, I'm sounding pretty judgy for an uncle who just watched his niece do the same at 12 years old. She sipped champagne last night, and she said she hates it.
Okay.
So,
well, you want him to hate it.
Yeah, Yeah,
Right.
but I really kind of wanted her to try it too.
Right.
But she chugged the whole thing.
Okay. Roy, what are you laughing at? She chucked the whole thing.
She chucked the whole thing.
She puke? Can I talk to Mike Ryan?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I get like he's. I know.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
I'm
up
right here, Papa.
Oh, hi, Papa.
Hey.
Papa.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi.
It's like
That was
talking to a ghost.
It was a rough start to the show. A bunch of things that you admitted to that made me very uncomfortable.
I love where we're at. Why? Why? Mike, I'm telling you, my dad, Chris Cody, just said the same thing. My dad, when I was around 13 or 14, is the first time he allowed me to take a sip of a drink. And so you're judging me? This is a bad decision. I have done bad things, horrible things here.
I think what I'm judging you over is the fact that you admitted it, but I think everybody's had the grandfather or the uncle that gives them a bottle of Busch beer, and you go to the bathroom and you chug it and you realize, oh, this is terrible.
Right.
This is terrible. I'm never doing that. What's the appeal? And then you get older and you love it, and then you become that very same uncle or grandfather.
Correct. Well, when was your first time?
My first time, I would take sips from my grandfather's Busch or Ice House. He was a man of fine taste.
Right. Busch or Ice House.
Yeah. And I would like the sips because, it was bubbly. It was kind of like a soda. So one day, we kept the beers there, and I took an entire Ice House into the bathroom. Oh. I was 10 years old, and I was like, okay, let me see what this is all about.
Wait, did you say 10 years old, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, so I went to the bathroom, and I had an Ice House, and it was terrible. It was awful.
Right.
But it was Ice House.
Yes. I imagine if you had an Ice House today, it would still be terrible and awful.
Probably. Are they even still making Ice House?
I don't know.
I haven't seen an Ice House because, remember, they had a pretty big marketing budget back in the day. I haven't seen an Ice House in about 25 years.
I'm going to check on it. Can we check on that, guys? Are they still making Ice House beer? I think they are.
I think they make them in those, the tall cans.
I think you're right. I think they do. They make them in the tall cans. I'm checking it out right now. They're owned by Miller, by the way.
Yeah, anything with ice in it is sort of, because they use like the brewing process is super cold,
right.
But Natty Ice, Bud Ice, Ice House. You get where I'm going with these ice beers, don't you?
Oh, yes, I do. My favorite beer is Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I like Pabst.
Pabst is a great, on tap, a cold Pabst Blue Ribbon is one of the finer things in life.
On tap. I've never seen a tap of PBR. I've just seen the big cans, the blue ribbon. Right, they don't just give those blue ribbons away.
No, I know, but listen, I go up, as you know, I go to Lake George every summer for my kids' camp, for visiting day weekend and all that stuff. And the hotel we stay at up on Lake George, they have Pabst Blue Ribbon on tap, and it is unbelievable. I can't drink it out of the can. I can only drink it as cold, frosty mug out of the tap. In fact, Chris has never rushed to the microphone quicker than he did when we brought up beer. Pabst Blue Ribbon?
Well, I know it's a big beer up north, but I've always thought of it as a low-end beer.
I did too.
It is.
I've been to beer pong tournaments that they shill that out as everyone pays $5 and then
it's the lower tier. It markets to college kids as Natty Light and Bud Ice to a far lesser degree. I think Natty sort of covers the market on we're the frat beer. We're the your dad's out of town beer.
Yeah.
But when I was out in Colorado, it was kind of a PB&J was a Pabst Blue Ribbon and Jameson shot.
Right.
And and they had specials on that, and that was everybody was.
Are you just harkening back to your college years with that, or do you genuinely like the taste of it?
No, college years was Pabst Blue Ribbon and State Vodka. We would go to the store, we'd get Keystone Light, Pabst Blue Ribbon, and State Vodka, and you can get all that.
Keystone. I forgot Keystone in the family.
Yeah, Keystone and Keystone Light, right? And you could walk out of the liquor store with just cases upon cases of beer and State Vodka, and at that time, back in 1992, and I would have only spent $24. I'm serious. I'm not even joking here. Schlitz is certainly in there. But no, with Pabst, yes, it takes me back to my college days, but also, so I went a long period of time without drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, but when my kids started going to sleepaway camp, and they had it on tap, I've been drinking it every summer. But I won't drink it out of the can. Do you remember the first time that you...
I do now. As Mike was talking, I remember mine. I was in the Dominican Republic, and for some reason... they were doing this, we were in some resort, and they were doing this contest, and for some reason they allowed 2 kids, ages 11 and 13, to win the contest, and the prize being a bottle of 151 proof rum. And so, yes, I mean, it was like it was just a trick question kind of contest, right? So we were in a resort with a pool and all that stuff, and they're just like the first person that can bring me a cup full of sand. And I just happened to remember there was a beach volleyball court down on the other end. I ran over, grabbed some sand, brought it back. Bam, here you go, some rum, kid. And so we went back eventually to my aunt and uncle's house. And so it was my 4 cousins and my sister and myself, and we were sitting around in the kitchen, and we were like, you guys want to try it? And they sort of made me the guinea pig. And I took like a capful, 151 proof rum, took a capful in my mouth. I just spit it out like my mouth was on fire everywhere around the sink. I don't even think I swallowed a sip at all. It was just that nasty. I think they made me swallow a little bit.
I remember one of the first times I was hammered, and my parents didn't do a very good job of, now this is way past being 11 or 12 and Dad giving you a sip of beer. But
13, 14?
Yes, it was 13 or 14.
Well past.
Well past. Parents went away for the weekend. My parents didn't go to great lengths to try to hide the liquor from the kids. There was a liquor cabinet that was protected by a skeleton key that you just had to turn once, and the cabinet was open. So they went away. My brother, who's 4 years older, was home. He went out for a little bit, and I invited some friends over, and we started chugging amaretto. And, chugging amaretto. So much so that for some reason we wound up on my couch watching General Hospital, and the phone rang on the TV, and I answered my home phone, and I puked all over the phone.
Trex composite decking is rot and splinter resistant. Wood is not. Trex is insect proof. Wood is not. Trex eliminates time-consuming maintenance. Wood does not. Trex comes with a 25-year fade and stain warranty. Wood does not. So here's the question. Why would you ever choose to build with wood? Make sure your next deck is built with Trex.
Don Batard. Aren't you trying to run a homeless guy out of your cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
You want to tell the people that story? Stugotz.
There's a homeless guy who is living in our community up in Parkland, and I'm aware of him. I've seen him. I've given him a loaf of French bread, but I don't have the heart to kind of go to any, of the management there and rat him out. I feel bad for him. So my strategy is if I tell enough people, perhaps someone will go to management and get him kicked out. But now he's upgraded, man. He's got like a little scooter. Got a basket on it, so now he just drives around the neighborhood. And I saw him this weekend, and half the loaf of French bread that I gave him a week ago is still there in the basket. I told him to eat it already.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Does my voice sound as bad as it feels?
Yes.
All right.
I don't think so.
That's not bad?
No.
It's been worse.
I've heard it worse.
Yeah, it's been worse, right, Roy? Roy, it's been worse.
Oh, it's been terrible before,
Yeah,
but
it's been worse.
still bad.
Mike, it's been worse, right? Like, it's been a lot worse, I feel like.
It has been a lot worse,
Yeah.
but this is bad.
Yeah, because Israel and I didn't watch sports, I'm telling you this, guys, now. Billy, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to you for a minute on Marlins baseball. Roy, I'm going to you for 30 seconds on the Stanley Cup. Mike, I am going to you for 30 to 60 seconds on USA Soccer. All right, just so you guys know. All right? Probably should have told you that during the commercial break, but I'm telling you now on air. Okay? You guys cool? Roy, you cool?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Mike.
Yeah?
Adam West over the weekend. Our show is cursed, man.
Ooh, you sound awful.
I know, Mike.
And,
that's
no one's
fineable.
calling you out on these
That's a
fines.
fine.
You've been clearing out your voice into that microphone multiple times.
I get a pass today, dude. I mean, listen, I spent the entire weekend yelling at kids, and it was big fields, and the kids were far away from me, and I had to yell and guide them through some of these games, and so I'm struggling today. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Right. I don't want to be giving lessons on professionalism. I mean, the good news is you showed up and you're fighting through whatever you're doing.
I'm here.
And I know, I show up here, man. Mm-hmm. That's your mantra.
That's my strength.
Yeah, but if your voice isn't sounding good and your voice is your tool, at least maybe don't clear your throat into the microphone to give off some level of, polish.
Totally fair. Totally fair. I'll All right, was that better?
No.
Because what you get when I do that is just dead air, man. Like, Izzy,
you have a co-host there.
I mean, I can talk if you want.
Yeah.
Izzy, when I turn this microphone off and you notice me backing away from the microphone, you have to fill time.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Just moving forward
I'll
here.
do my best.
Mike, let's start over again with Adam West, who was very generous to our show. We will miss him. He was very generous to our show with his time. Whenever we called him, he always made time for our show. He was on with us recently. But over the weekend, all I got on Twitter was, your show is cursed. This has happened now, I want to say 3 or 4 times, maybe in the last 6 months, Mike, where someone has come on the show and then passed away within weeks after appearing on the show.
Yeah, I think 3 notable deaths now. And like that dude that we were talking about, who did the Anarchist Cookbook, like he wasn't even on the show. Dan just spoke his name for the first time in the 13 years we've been doing this, and he died the very next day.
Man.
Reaper. I mean, the evidence is overwhelming.
But I don't buy that whole show curse thing. I mean, the Bill Paxton thing, okay, fine.
Right.
Maybe. But that's just been one.
Right.
When a second younger man passes away after being on our show, then we can start asking some questions and having real concerns.
Well, it started with Alan Thicke, did it not?
Yeah, and he was younger, but he was also older. Look, we have I love our guest list. We have a lot of people on that you don't hear from that brings you back to a time when you were in your childhood watching these legends on television. And more shows should put people like that on. It's not our fault that our guest list is so eclectic and wonderful.
But a maybe is good enough for me to say no thanks to Dan Le Batard's show. A maybe you're cursed and I'll die. No, you guys can do without my 10 minutes of conversation.
Are you saying that if we call you next week to appear as a guest on the show, you're going to say no because you're in peak physical condition and you're young?
I'm not a celebrity like that.
Right.
I figure it's only for, big time celebrity.
All right.
Guys, I don't mean to be glib here, but like when we booked Adam West a couple weeks ago, we all knew that this was in the realm of possibility, right?
Yes. I mean,
when we booked him, like the conversations in the studio went along the lines of, we're going to get blamed for this eventually.
How old was he?
He was in his late 80s.
Yeah,
he had a very tragically very brief battle with leukemia that I don't think he knew he had when he was talking to us a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, when you're booking a guy consistently who is in his late 80s, there's a good chance that time might be the last time.
You're playing with fire.
Yes, you are playing. You are playing with fire. But it was sad, Mike. He, like Alan Thicke, was very gracious with his time. We had grown to love Adam West. Is that fair? At least I had grown to love Adam West.
Adam West was a friend of the show. You're a friend of the show if you consistently make us laugh and you're generous with your time. I think he connected with people because he was an icon of their childhood, and he was still so with it, so sharp, so funny.
Yeah,
I know he didn't write the Family Guy stuff, right? But even the way the way he does that character and the lines, the way he reads the lines and everything else, I feel like it just kind of keeps him in sort of pop culture realm, right? I think the young kids still recognize who he is because of that.
Like everything written for that character, Mayor Adam West, was based off of his personality. I mean, he doesn't have Seth MacFarlane writing for him when he joins us live on the radio, and he's still like super quick and witty.
Yeah,
his delivery's great on that show.
Oh, he's super sharp, man. He's super sharp, or he was super sharp. So our condolences to the West family. Billy, what are you laughing at? I said is like he was still alive. I know.
No, that necessary correction. He was actually. He was. He's dead now.
Well, I mean, he's no longer with us. You have to talk about him in the past tense, don't you? I mean, right? I mean, why you got to call me out like that, man?
This is funny. Guy, he's dead. Actually, was dead now.
Roy, what are you
on the show again?
Roy, what are you laughing at, man?
I'm laughing at the same thing. That's just ridiculous.
Why you got to call me out like that?
Yeah, you need to be called out on stuff like this.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I should be called out on it. We'll miss him, and we love him. And our condolences to the West family.
I can hear Roy laughing through the glass
because he doesn't think it's sincere. Do you think it's sincere? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show on Twitter.
I've never heard Roy react that loudly to anything.
Fat Chris, do you think I'm being sincere? This is as sincere as I'm not a good actor. I'm telling you that we will miss that man greatly.
No.
Okay. Lie detector next week. Put it on the list.
Lie detector.
Put it on the lie detector next week.
The wait is over. It's next week.
The wait is over. It's next week.
Yep. Part 2. I will go back. I will be hooked up to the lie detector. Is it June 21st? Is that when we're doing it?
Wait is over, June 21st.
All right, so put that on the list of questions. Is Stugotz being sincere when he says he'll miss Adam West?
I'm not forgetting anybody, right? It was Alan Thicke, who was our celebrity prognosticator when he died, Bill Paxton, Anarchist Cookbook, even though that's a loose affiliation because it wasn't actually on with us, and Adam West. Is there anybody else that our show is cursed? I feel like we got unfairly labeled with this curse just after one death.
Wasn't Billy Mays on the show?
Yeah, but that was like 8 years ago.
It counts.
Yeah, it does
same
count.
show.
He died like a couple of months after he joined us. That's not on us.
It's got to be within like 2 weeks. I think I'm with Mike on this. It's got to be within 2 weeks of you appearing on the show. Maybe within a month of you appearing on the show.
Okay, so there needs to be a time limit then.
Yeah, a month. I think a month is a good time limit.
Amin was going to co-host one day, and he suggested Don Rickles to Allison, and then he died like 2 days later.
Oh, geez.
But we didn't have him on.
Oh,
so
geez. Yeah, but we mentioned him.
Did Allison make the call?
I don't think she ever reached out.
Is the show cursed? At Batard Show on Twitter. Is it cursed? If you were a celebrity, would you come on this show? At Batard Show on Twitter. If you were a celebrity knowing about the death curse that is associated with this show, would you agree to come on this show?
That's actually how I learned about Adam West's death. I saw a response to a Le Batard Show tweet that said, "Oh no, Batman, Le Batard," in a bunch of exclamation points. And I was like, what does that mean? And then I finally just kind of did the math. I was like, oh no, Adam West passed away.
Right. By the way, there's a Game 5 tonight, NBA Finals. We'll get to that in a second.
Tonight?
Yeah, it is tonight, unfortunately. I got to stay up till 9 o'clock again on a Monday night.
So, guys, what is the rule? Can we decide what the rule is on the curse? Because Adam West last joined us on May 3rd. I feel like we're good there.
All right, let's do this right now. I'm with you, Mike. In fact, Mike, I was thinking...
We did not kill Adam West. That was more than a month ago.
One of the many things I love about you is even while in Bristol, Connecticut, we are on the same page because I was just thinking the same thing. We have to figure out the guidelines. We have to figure out what classifies as a curse or not. So he was last on when?
May 3rd.
All right, so May 3rd, so that's slightly over a month ago.
I feel like we're good. We did not kill Adam West.
Is that outside the zone, the show curse zone right there, Guillermo?
Well, full disclosure, every time we had one of those things where we had people make predictions on the finals or whatever, those things where Dan would call like whoever it was, Jay Feely over and over again.
Right.
We would call Adam West every time and he didn't get back to us.
Well, he was clearly going through some stuff.
What kind of arbitrary number is like 30 days? Like, why is a month the limit?
Because if we don't have some sort of rule, then you're just going to put every death on us, like you tried to do with Billy Mays, Roy. Like you can't.
Right.
Like we didn't kill Billy Mays.
A couple
He
months
died.
is a reasonable amount of time to consider that you were at fault.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's got to be within a week.
Well, look, Izzy's sort of independent. I know he's sort of scared of he seems superstitious. But Izzy, what do you think is a fair timeline for a show curse? I think a month is a cutoff.
Can we be clear here? Because Guillermo makes a great point into my headsets. We didn't actually kill any of these people.
We didn't slide some.
We're not murderers around here, okay?
I think if it's a younger person, right, a person that's not in his late 80s, I think you got to give it like 4 to 6 months, to be honest, because you're not going to expect this person to pass away. And so if it's somehow related within the same year or less than a year to your show, then I think it's reasonable to consider it a curse. If it's an older person, if it's, a senior citizen and beyond, yeah, I'd give it a couple of months, but 1 month is not enough.
Allison actually just texted me something. I do think that there's a loophole here. So you can put Adam West on us because he didn't die instantly. He joined us, got the leukemia within that 30-day time frame, and that's what brought him down afterwards.
There you go.
So you could argue that the show gave him like what killed him. So, all right, Adam West, that's on us.
That's
Fine.
on us. All right, I'm willing to accept that. Guillermo?
But what if they do a bunch of like interviews after us? Like, that's not fair.
Do we know if he did or not?
I mean, I would gladly, if there was another show out there that has had Alan Thicke, Bill Paxton, and Adam West on in the last year, please alert me to it so we can put this curse on them.
Right.
Joan Rivers passed away 5 years after we had her on. Wow. Does that count?
That's not, no, that does
that's
not
outside
count.
the...
that one you clear.
That's well outside.
I mean, and Alan Thicke was kind of a recurring guest. I don't know if that's really on us as well.
Alan Thicke was the celebrity prognosticator when he died. We had to replace... He had not lost yet.
Right.
How was Joan Rivers?
Oh, wow. By the way, we'll play Adam West. Do we have the sound from Joan Rivers back there hanging up on us, getting mad at me and Dan?
Did that happen?
We will play Adam West, his final interview with us, which was tremendous. We will play that for you at some point during the show today. The guys are also working on an Adam West montage. Izzy asked how our interview with Joan Rivers went. Here's how it went, Izzy.
We don't have it yet.
Oh, we don't have the sound yet. Roy, you were perked up at the mic like you had the sound ready to go. In fact, I think I got a thumbs up there.
No, I did not give a thumbs up. It was an index finger saying, hold on.
Oh, that's what it was.
What's the difference?
You can't tell an index finger from a thumb?
No.
Oh, you guys, Allison, we got mixed signals.
What?
Apparently, Adam West had leukemia before he joined us.
Oh, no.
And he just was quiet about it. How
So we're
cool
off
is
the
that?
hook.
If he, I want to be careful with the phrasing here, but like that dude was living his life and delivering laughs even after he got news that he was battling something, as serious as leukemia.
Sager-like.
Joan Rivers.
Are you Jewish?
I am not.
I am. Shut up. Then you don't know what you're talking about. Can we get any clearer?
No,
Then shut up. You don't know what you're talking about.
It's very strong. It's all I'm saying. I
Come
want
on.
Daddy, where do babies come from?
Honey?
Mommy went to the store.
Oh, well, you see, there's a mommy and a daddy, right?
Right.
And see, when they call Geico, they could save a bunch of money on car insurance.
Oh, really? And that makes them happy?
Yes, that makes them very happy.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we could have this talk, sunshine.
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Don Le Batard. All right, we're going to see whether any of these here can crack Chuck Norris's top 10. Now, your favorite involves the Tyrannosaurus Rex. You want to do yours?
Stugotz. Yeah, that Chuck Norris was chasing the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Rex was not chasing the Jeep.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on the ticket.
Israel Gutierrez in for Le Batard today. Man, I don't know what to tell you. Dan decided to take off, and he took off for a while. He'll be back on Thursday. But he took off, and he's on vacation, and he's still somewhere along the Baltic Sea. But he'll be back on Thursday. So you got me in Israel today. You got me and Dominique Foxworth and Greg Cody tomorrow with Mike in Bristol. That will either be the greatest show in show history or the worst show in show history.
I know which way I'm betting.
Dominique Foxworth is like, I love Dominique.
Yeah.
And I love doing the shows with him. Mike Ryan wanted Dominique here because Mike cannot be here. So he wanted someone responsible, someone that I'd listen to, someone that would rein me and Cody in. Because if you left me and Cody, Mike, is this fair? You did not want to leave me and Cody to our own devices? Is that why Dominique is here?
Correct, but given what Dominique's done recently by just being your hype man, maybe he's just going to make things worse.
He might.
Maybe he'll just pour gasoline on the fire.
Dominique don't give a bleep, man. He doesn't. Like, he's in this for the fun, and if it doesn't work out, he's told me this, like, he'll just go and we'll go back to the business world, where he's been very successful and would be very successful if he continued to do it. Then it's just me and Dominique on Wednesday. Mike, you're back when?
I'll be back the same day Dan returns.
All right, so you're
Thursday.
back. You're back Thursday, which is when
3
Allison
shows from up here in Bristol, and then I get back.
Are you sad up there in Bristol? What's going on?
Well, today's kind of weird because normally when I've done this, like you've been up with me when we've done like these like radio show tours. It's a little different when you're like up here doing like First Take or whatever camera work you've done. When you go as a member of the radio show, it's because they want you to meet a bunch of people, take meetings and whatnot. But Liam wasn't here, and he's supposed to be like holding my hand throughout this entire process. But he's out today.
Oh,
so I've just been like winging it.
All right,
totally by myself.
All right,
trying to figure stuff out, including this studio. So that's been my experience. I did get here a little earlier yesterday because I didn't want to have one of those awful like 11 p.m. arrival times, and then it's a whole process because Bristol's about 40 minutes away from Hartford.
Sure.
So, like, I experienced the wonderful city of Hartford last night.
Hartford's nice. West Hartford, in particular, is very, very nice.
I went downtown, and I went to, like, I don't know if you're familiar with American Outlaws. It's big, like, the big supporter base of U.S. soccer. So I went to like their flagship bar to watch USA Mexico, and it was fun. I met a friend there. He had a flip phone. It was incredible.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like you made a friend there, or you actually met a friend there?
I made a friend. I was just talking to this guy, and then I saw him pull out his phone, and it looked like a two-way pager. Like, it's not a smartphone at all. He doesn't have any apps. Like, his name was Dennis, and he still, he has an Atlas in his car. He's only 30 years old, but he knows that Uber is a thing, but he doesn't want to use it. Like, he's gotten lost so many times because he doesn't have GPS, but he likes his life. He likes his phone. He only pays $20 a month for his cell phone.
That's amazing, man. Life would be better without phones. I'm telling you, man. The phones have taken over our lives, man.
The Atlas, though?
He has an Atlas, and there was a time that we were having a discussion about like a former U.S. soccer player, and we knew the first name, but we were trying to figure out what his last name was. And I was telling him I could easily look this up in my phone. He's like, don't worry, I got a guy. So he texted one of his friends,
right?
And we waited 40 minutes for his friend to get back to him with the answer. And it's like, man, this is what life was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It was crazy to me how far we've come.
Well, imagine what life was like for me when I was growing up. Mike, we didn't have any of this when I was growing up. God, I sound so old. Oh, my God. Have I ever sounded older? You would have to, where did we get the information back then? I'm trying to think, in the 80s and 90s.
411? I have no idea. Was there? I remember there was a book, some sort of hotline where you could call and ask people somebody questions, and it was like the old school internet. They'd find, encyclopedias, I guess would be the answer.
They had a thing back when I was growing up called Sports Phone, and it was like a major, major breakthrough.
Oh, yeah. I love Sports Phone.
You know Sports Phone, where you could call a number and they'd give you like a Sports Center update, essentially.
I remember that.
Like a 2-minute. Do you remember that? Put it on the poll. Sports Phone. You would call a number. You would have to call from a hard line because we didn't have cell phones, and it would give you like a Sports Center update. It was so ahead of its time, man. And I think they charged you for it.
Yes.
Wait, Mike, how do you know about Sports Phone?
Because as I started gambling, which was like as soon as I turned 18, I wanted to gamble illegally. That was like my whole big vice. I'm going to do it. I didn't do drugs. I gambled. So back then there weren't really smartphones. And you really couldn't even pull up the internet on your phone. So you would have to call Sport Phone for scores.
You're only 5 years older than me, Stugotz, but you make me feel old when you talk about how old you are. I don't want to feel that way when I'm 44.
Well, I mean, I'm 5 years older than you, but you're just better looking. You're in better shape. It feels
that doesn't change time.
Fat Chris, am I wrong here? I'm only 5 years older than Israel, but based on physical appearance, health, all that stuff, it feels like he's 20 years younger than me, right?
Yeah, I would thought Izzy's in his early 30s.
Yeah.
And you, mid to late 40s.
Well, I am mid 40s. I'm 44. I thought you were going to go your dad's age there, man, because I feel like it today. I do. I am tired today, man. Rough weekend. All right, Mike, let's go. You mentioned USA Soccer, so give us 30 to 60 seconds on USA Soccer last night. Played Mexico.
Well, I don't know. Many people out there are just sort of casual U.S. soccer observers. What's going on right now are World Cup qualifiers, and the U.S. was in real trouble to not qualify for the World Cup. They fired Jurgen Klinsmann. They finally pulled the trigger on that, and they brought back arguably the greatest coach in U.S. men's soccer history in Bruce Arena to sort of regain their identity and sort of pull them out of this hole that they were in. They've been playing really well. We have a new U.S. soccer star. I know everyone sort of dismisses these big, hyped-up teenagers that we bring up to the national team, but Christian Pulisic is the real deal. He's already the team's best player. He's really good for a big club in Germany, Borussia Dortmund. So everything is he's our new number 10. He's the new Landon Donovan. He is the real deal. He's going to have a huge transfer, if not this summer, next summer. He's going to be the most expensive American player ever. So the whole offense is sort of geared around Pulisic, and we had a huge performance Arena's first game back with the team. We won midweek against Trinidad and Tobago, a game that was a little tougher than it should have been, but Pulisic had both the goals, 2-0. And then the U.S. men went to Azteca Stadium last night. And if you know the history in World Cup qualifiers, the U.S. has never won in Azteca. If you get a point there, if you get a draw, it's a great result, especially if you were in a hole trying to qualify for the World Cup. The U.S. men scored the first goal last night. It wasn't just any normal goal. It's a big goal because it's at Azteca, but Michael Bradley had one of the most amazing goals you'll see on the national team level for the U.S. They went up 1-0. They had a couple chances that they squandered. Mexico got the equalizer. The game ended 1-1, but it was a huge point for the U.S. men.
I did see that the U.S. men had a chance to go up 2-0. They missed it. That was one of the greatest transition I've ever seen in a soccer game, where the USA went from looking like it was going to score a goal to Mexico getting the ball downfield very quickly and scoring its own goal to tie it at 1-1. If soccer was always like that, I'd watch it more. Guillermo, you got 30 seconds on the Marlins here?
It was a disappointing road trip, I think. I think we could have gotten we were 3 and what were we? We were 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Could have been 4 and 3, 5 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Tymo. I mean, he's killing it.
He is
2 home
killing it.
runs.
Yes.
JT Riddle's doing okay. I feel like Stanton, by the way, I don't care about Stanton's health normally. Because, I mean, I'd prefer if he's healthy, obviously, so that, we could do well. But I only want him to be in the home run derby this year. And he, almost broke his wrist this weekend. So,
right.
I'd like him to go up there with as many guards as possible. If he could go up in Knight's armor, that would be preferable. To make sure he just gets to the home run derby.
You want to preserve him. You would rather him not play baseball so he could be there for the home run derby. Him versus Aaron Judge is what everyone wants to see. I think I'm with you on this.
Exactly. I mean, play baseball, but if you're going to play baseball, be as careful as possible. He got injured the other day, then Dietrich, who's our 4th third baseman, almost got a concussion, and then Yelich ran into a wall. Let's all just, let's not try that hard. All right,
Roy, 10 seconds on the Stanley Cup.
The NHL sold those souls. They sold their souls for this championship for the Penguins.
I mean, who says we don't talk sports?